people just don't realize how important persistence is. The willingness to never give up and just keep going no matter what the obstacle. That theme comes up over and over again. I don't think there's a replacement for that. But I'm curious, when you look at your success in business and in life, besides your ability to solve problems, what do you think has caused you to raise to such a high level? Is it that persistence, that relentlessness? Is it that the fact that you have both the financial and the technical? You're an engineer and you had a brilliant financial mind and training. Is it focusing on the sector you did? Because no one was into SAS in the beginning, right? Or SAS. They didn't think it was worthwhile, I think, when you started in 2000.
Right.
What do you think has been the most important elements that have helped you to succeed? I know you're very humble, but pretty obvious you've succeeded at a level most humans will never dream of.
I think it's a lot of what you said, and that relentless curiosity.
The curiosity part,
and I bet if you talk to, I know you do, talk to thousands of people a year, you will find those who are successful in their field remain curious.
I agree.
They are those who know they don't always have the answer, and they ask the next set of questions. And from that, they get informed, and it brings insights. And then they can bring their own intention and their energy against that to solve whatever problem they may be focused on. Or say, this is another problem that I can solve, and it'd be interesting to solve it. So I think it's that curious nature which is essential.
But that curious nature is so unusual because most people, they give it up. They get to that first wall, if you will, and they just stop. So how do you coach people to get through that wall and to just continue to persist even when it gets frustrating?
Or do you work to find people that just already have that in their nature?
I think so. It's a great question. Being a father, you want all your kids to have that.
Yes.
Not all of them do.
Yes.
And you have to think about, what is it that I can do? And to me, there are things like sports.
Yes.
Okay. Sports, in some respects, when you have a child who's doing something, or my kids are, play chess, right? And you see them hit a wall. And so you can tell them the answer, or you can help them discover how they go about solving that problem. And that gives them a little more confidence.
Yes.
And each time they get a little more confidence, they get a little more confident. Yeah. Right. And I think that's a big part of it. And we as parents, as part of our job is to prepare that child for that journey, not prepare that, the path for them. Yes. And it's a hard thing to do. But when you find students, employees who have that, and you can recognize it, you ask the right questions, you figure out, a lot of it is, tell me about your origin story. Tell me how you grew up. And you listen to how they describe what it is that got them to that place. Yeah. That's when you start identifying, okay, here's somebody with that spark who's not going to take no for an answer.
We call it a lot in our firm. We call it grit.
Right.
It's that grit. It's really hard to identify. Yeah. But when you find somebody with grit, they usually will persist and they usually will figure it out.
And so part of it is, what are the things, and where do you need that grit in certain circumstances? Look, when all boats are rising in a marketplace, everybody's making money.
And you think everybody thinks they're a genius.
They're brilliant, right? Okay. Grit is when you see downturns, okay? And when you see changes in market conditions, and when you see the introduction of new technologies into the theater in which you have been operating. And do you ignore it? Do you embrace it? Do you make it a part now of your DNA, and how do you do that? And so when you talk about, okay, what has made you successful, we have built an institution that evolves. Technology, enterprise software, it evolves. The early days of this, all on premise. Yes. Okay. And then we saw the recognition of SaaS or hosted. Yeah. And I said, okay, there's a couple things you can do. You can ignore what is going to be the reality, or you can build an infrastructure. So what we did, we built a factory. We built a conversion factory to convert from on-premise to cloud. And as far as I know today, we have converted more businesses from on-premise to cloud than any institution on the planet. Wow. Well, now we have a new technology, don't we? Yeah. This new general purpose technology we're calling, artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence. So guess what we're doing now? We are building a factory, awesome. To go from SaaS or hosted to agentic. Wow. And so we have 89 of our companies pivoting in that direction, all of them. Okay, certain will become agentic, some will what I call Gen AI enabled, but that has been the last 2 years of pivot, understanding that this new technology changes everything again. Yes, but you've got to have an institution that can evolve.
I'm going to help the audience out here a little bit because most people have no idea what agentic means. So walk us through that and explain that.
Sure, that's good.
And how important is the adoption of AI for small businesses as well as large size businesses, right?
Yeah, it's critical. So the way to think about, artificial intelligence, there's kind of what we'll call traditional AI. So for instance, when, a few years ago, we would go and say, oh, I want to take a trip and I want to go to Paris and I want to go on a restaurant tour and go to museums. And you could go online and what you would have is an artificial intelligence agent would actually identify places where you could go. Great. Okay.
Now it'll do it for you.
Now, not only will it do it for you, it will book it and it will make changes and adjust for you. So that's kind of the modern AI. That's agentic. These agents now can do something. They do stuff.
Actually, they replace employees. And I was talking to Marc Benioff about this. He called me in the middle of the night about a year ago and said, this is it. This is the piece. I can't believe what this will do. I can take companies and they can have 500 new employees and doing things really effectively with this technology.
Right.
So how are you using that in your companies right now?
So if you think about it, again, this is an interesting math. So this is what we're working against. We have 750 million users of our software globally.
Wow.
Okay, so if you think about it, 89 software companies operate in 180 countries. We're in 70 different industries. 750 million users of our software. Initially, each of those users will have 2 to 5 agents. Ultimately, they'll have 10 to 12 agents. We're going from having 750 million users of our software to 8 to 10 billion agents.
Wow.
Okay. Now, these agents work 24/7, 365. If you tune them properly,
they stay fully engaged.
Fully engaged all the time. They don't have to, go and, pick up kids from school and all that sort of stuff. But which creates a whole nother set of issues that we're all going to have to think about.
I know that.
But, as a fiduciary, my job is to bring maximum efficacy to the assets that we control and that we own. And so what our factory is doing is building all the infrastructure and the components to convert users, in essence, to agentic solutions. So each agent will have specific tasks associated with it. And even within that construct, you have to have an agent that each agent has to be protected. You have to have cybersecurity around it.
Yes.
It has to operate in in the enterprise.
Yes.
Consumers very different. Okay, because, the 3 of us after this, we could say, hey, let's go to a Thai place, right? Yeah. And we could go online and send an agent and they'll find 10 of them.
Yeah.
9 of them will be open. One has been closed for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And right, that just kind of is with booked appointment, all that. In the enterprise, no, you need 100%
accuracy,
certainty, right? Because we have to go and say, I'm sure you wouldn't want your check get wire transferred to someone else at 99.5% efficiency. You want 100%.
Yeah.
So there's aspects that enterprise software brings to an agentic world that agentic can't do on its own.
Right.
Remember, the enterprise software are the trusted providers of the infrastructure, the workflows, and the data today.
Yes.
So, Benioff, and we talk about this, we laugh about this a little bit. People say, oh, is AI going to eat software? No, AI is going to feed software, enterprise software.
That's what Marc said. Marc, from Salesforce, this will transform Salesforce as powerful as the company is to a different level in terms of servicing their customers.
Absolutely.
So let's do this. Explain how it's going to feed software.
Sure.
How is that going to feed and actually help build software? Because I think people get really confused about the two.
Sure. There are aspects of it. So let's talk about just one aspect. One of the most important